Heyo! My name is probably Casey, these are probably some books, and welcome to what is probably my channel. Yeah, it's my channel.
Case can probably read.
So I'm still pretty new to this, so what I'm going to try to do for this video is just a simple TBR. I'm going to let you know the books that I'm going to be reading in April. I think I've got about 7 books on my list for this month. I may add a few, I may lose a few, it really just depends on how busy my month gets, but I'm going to shoot for 7 books. So without further ado, here we go. The first book on my list for this month is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. I found this book this summer when I was looking for some new reads. I think it was on a Pop Sugar list that I looked up of new young adult fantasy. I was really interested in it because the fantasy world seems to be built out of Middle Eastern mythology and folklore rather than a more Eurocentric folklore and fantasy that most fantasy is built out of. So it seemed really new, really fresh, and I am excited to read it. I've been on the wait list to read We Hunt the Flame for a couple of months now through my library's electronic service, and it finally came available, so that's why I'm going to read it this month. The next book on my list for this month is Dreadnation by Justina Ireland. I am very excited to read this. I don't remember exactly where I heard of it. I'm pretty sure I saw it on some Booktube channels, and it might have been on a list or two that I looked up. I just know that the basic premise, I believe, is the Civil War with add zombies. I know. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this. I am excited about reading about a black protagonist, and I love the cover. Everything about this just makes me want to read it. Just the picture, like how strong she looks. The tagline, it says, Dreadnation, rise up. So I'm going to read that. The third book on my list for this month is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I think I have been pretty late to the whole Grishaverse game. I didn't read Shadow and Bone until I think February of 2020. I got through that trilogy pretty quickly, dove right into Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which I loved. And then I read, I think, all of the novellas this summer. I think I've read every novella there is. The only thing I haven't read is Lives of the Saints. And then I read King of Scars this fall. So I have been waiting for this book to come out. Normally I try and rent these, check these books out to read them before I buy them, just to see if I'm going to like them. But I went ahead and bought myself a copy of Rule of Wolves because I was hoping to read it before someone on social media spoiled it for me, which I now realize was an insane pipe dream that I had. It's already had a few small spoilers just from getting on Twitter, so I'm going to try and read this as fast as I possibly can to try and save a little bit of that magic for myself. We'll see what happens. I really like this world. I feel like it's very saturated, and I just love that she has paid such close attention to the cultures that are not even the main cultures, but even some of like the subcultures that are in these countries, and the politics and the relationships that they have with each other. I mean, it's just pretty cool. The small science magic system is also very cool. I am big fans of all 3 of the protagonists in this particular duology. Nikolai is one of my favorites, as is Zoya and Nina. I love that they are all very competent and that they get some pretty good one-liners. So I'm gonna try and get that one read. The fourth book on my list for this month is Queens of Fenburn. This is a set of 2 novellas, I think, that coincide with her Three Dark Crown series. Yeah, this is The Young Queens and The Oracle Queen. It's been a while, but I have read the first 2 books in the Three Dark Crown series. I really enjoyed them. I actually had forgotten about them. I found this book pretty recently. But I think that they're really compelling. For some reason, just reading them, you want to read more. The premise is there are 3 sisters who are born essentially to eventually fight each other to death to become queen of this particular nation of Fenburn. And it's a cycle that repeats itself. The queen that wins, she eventually has 3 daughters. They fight themselves to the death until there is a winner and she becomes queen. And so this follows 3 sisters. The stories follow 3 sisters, Arsenault, Catherine, and Mirabella, as they go through their shenanigans. I really like Arsenault, and she's probably my favorite. Catherine, I also really like, even though there's some really messed up stuff going on in her whole story. Mirabella is just... They can't all be winners, you know what I'm saying? I actually borrowed this book from my sister over 2 years ago. So that's why this is going on my reading list this month, because I'm afraid if I don't give it back, she will want to fight me to the death. And to be honest, I just really don't have time for that right now. The 5th book on my list is Creating Character Arcs by K.M. Weiland. I wanted to read this one because I was looking for some resources specifically on showing and detecting character growth in books, and I was interested, so I'm gonna read it. Which brings me to book number 6. I am going to try to do an ongoing series called Books I Was Supposed to Read in High School. If you were anything like I was in high school, you were busy, you were lazy. The internet existed with summary after summary of the books I was supposed to be reading for class. I'm not saying I'm proud of it, I'm just telling you what happened. So I've got a list of about 11 books that I am going to try to read this year just to make up for lost time. The first book on my list is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I picked this one because it was short and I wanted to go easy on myself as I ease into this thing. I was supposed to read this one my senior year of high school. I didn't. I'm sorry, Miss Hinson. So that brings me to the final book on my list, which is Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. This is part of the Arc of a Scythe trilogy. I finished the first book, Scythe, last month. This is set in a future where humanity no longer experiences natural death because they have advanced scientifically to a point where people don't die of disease or accident anymore. Even if they get hurt to a certain point, what they do is they go to a regeneration center where they are healed and they're then able to live for hundreds of years this way. So the only way that people in this society experience death is at the hands of a scythe. Scythes are a group of people who are trained in the art of death, of administering it to people. So they select people to be gleaned, and they are in charge of dealing out death. There are 2 protagonists in this series, or at least there were in the first book. I don't know what happens in this book yet. Their names are Chitra and Rowan. They are chosen for scythe training, and hilarity ensues. No, I'm just kidding. There was no hilarity. They're actually pretty heavy books, but I really enjoyed the first one, so I'm going to continue on with this one. Let's see. Ooh. For those of you who have read Scythe, quick question. If you were chosen for Scythe training, who would you pick as your Scythe patron? I've thought long and hard about it. Pretty sure I would pick Dolly Parton. Honorable Scythe Parton. Well, that's all I got for you today. If my particular brand of awkward appeals to you, feel free to like or subscribe. If you have read these books and you want to share any of your feelings with me, feel free to comment below.
Unless it's about Rule of Wolves. If it's about Rule of Wolves, don't tell me a damn thing.
If you know of or run a booktube you think that I might be into, definitely comment below. I really enjoyed kind of getting my feet wet in this community and already picking up some book recommendations from the people that I've been watching and interacting with, and I'm excited to read those books and add them to my list. So definitely let me know if you've got some recommendations for me. I think that's it. I will see you next time. Bye.